The other day, one student walked into my room and he was talking about NITs, not the IITs. And he said, I asked him what is he going to, which NIT he is going to choose, because he was likely to get NIT Warangal. So, and to my surprise, he said NIT Roorkela. So I asked him, why NIT Roorkela? And then he told me that he was going for NIT Roorkela because of the NIRF ranking. So that brings us to the other point, which is in terms of what is the importance of these ranking schemes. So if you see, I'm talking about NIRF. You might have heard about NIRF. Similarly, there are a whole lot of rankings done by various private publications, etc. But I won't trust these private publications because they will go mostly by the kind of advertisements they receive, etc. So they may not be very, very professional in terms of ranking the institutions. So you would be misled by those private publications ranking engineering colleges. Even the government-sponsored NIRF, I find certain problems. So when you're looking at ranking given by this, don't blindly make decisions just because of the ranking. I can show you a whole lot of anomalies. Anomaly number one is that IIT Madras is number one and IIT Bombay is 3. But we all know that if a guy gets the first choice, he would prefer Bombay and not Madras. But the rankings don't reflect that. Similarly, VIT, if I am not mistaken, is around 16 or something. VIT, I think, is around 15. However, and this is ahead of several NITs and IITs too, BITS Pilani, you'll be surprised. BITS Pilani, which is an institute of eminence, is ranked 30 by NIRF, and IIT Hyderabad, which some people considered on par with the IITs, has a ranking of 43. So there is a problem with the NIRF ranking. So you can't blindly go by NIRF ranking. NIRF ranking will give you an idea, but just don't go by NIRF ranking. You will land up with this kind of problem. So what I told my friend was that he was considering NIT Rourkela. Why? Because Rourkela had 16 NIRF ranking versus NIT Warangal, which has 19 ranking. 19 or 18, I don't recall. I think it is 19, yeah. So then I told him that as a student, what are you most bothered about? And he said, sir, placements. So if placements is what you are bothered about, then compare those parameters. Don't compare a whole lot of other parameters which don't make sense to you, because NIRF ranking talks about perception, talks about research output, talks about inclusivity and things like that. Inclusivity and outreach and a whole lot of factors which are subjective in nature. So I pointed out to him, and which makes sense for you, in NIRF ranking, there is what is known as graduation outcomes. Under this graduation outcomes, there are 2 parameters which are relevant for placement. One is known as GPH, which is placements and higher studies. The other is known as GMS, means median salary. So I asked him to compare these 2. So in terms of GPH, we found that this was 33.7, whereas NIT Warangal was 33.88. In terms of median salary, Rourkela was 14.71 and 17.23 was NIT Warangal. So if you look at these 2 parameters which were important for the student, and he said placements were important, I told him From placement point of view, NIT Warangal scores better. In fact, when I asked him to check up, I was not even clear about what would be the ranking of NIT in terms of these two parameters, but I was sure that NIT Warangal will score better. And when we checked up, and this was what has happened. So when you're looking at these kind of rankings, just don't go blindly by that. You also have to factor other things. It will give you some idea, but don't take decisions just on the basis of these rankings.